Hi, I am going to show you two labs you can do with the same material almost, and one would lead to the other, but if you have a time constraint, then you can choose one or the other. What you will need for the first lab are 4 2-liter bottles, and you would have to cut them about 1/3 of the way down. And I suggest these really nice sharp scissors. And once you cut them, they become like a funnel for the inside. So you would have 4 of those. You'd have coffee filter, soil, sand, and rocks. And the first lab would involve the students making a hypothesis about which of these materials would make the best filter for muddy water. And you will also need muddy water, and all you have to do for this muddy water is put water and soil, mix it up, and that's it. So the first wetlands you would create would just be with this coffee filter. So you put it inside the top, then you place the muddy water inside, and you'd observe to see how well it filters. And the students would make qualitative observations on their lab sheet. The next one would be the coffee filter and soil. And then you see how well that filters the muddy water. Then you would do the coffee filter and sand. And see how well that filters the muddy water. And last, you do the coffee filter and rocks. And you'd see how well that filters the muddy water. Be careful how you put it in, because it is very easy to miss the coffee filter. So once all the water has been filtered, you may have a discussion on which material worked best as a filter, and they would finish their lab. The next lab would be that they use the same materials to create their own wetlands, but this time they can layer them, and they will have to choose how they would like to layer the materials to create the best filter. They have to plan it and draw it out first, and there's a space in the lab where there's the bottle, a drawing of a bottle, and they just have to draw what they're going to put and label it. Once they have their plan, they get to build it, and this time they would build their little mini wetlands in tiny bottles, probably 16-ounce bottles. Again, please, you get to cut the bottles. And then they can use any of these materials. Once the whole class is finished, and once the whole class has built their wetlands, you give them water, the muddy water, and then they will observe how their mini wetlands did as far as filtering water. Once we're all done and everything, all the muddy water has been filtered, as a class, you decide who created the best wetland model. And you can give them a prize. What I did was take a picture and post it on our board. And then the last thing in the lab is you decide what you want to change, what you want to keep, if you want to layer differently. And there's that discussion too. And then the lesson is over. Thank you.